Amin Hashwani, a Cornell University graduate, Amin Hashwani serves as the president of Now PDP. Now PDP is an initiative of the Aga Khan National Council for Pakistan during the Golden Jubilee year, the network of organizations working for people with disabilities, Pakistan. Now PDP catalyzes the creation of an inclusive society that values and upholds the rights of people with disabilities. In addition to Now PDP, Mr. Hashwani also holds 5 other offices of business and non-business organizations. He's led several delegations abroad, organized international events, moderated international forums, been a guest speaker at seminars in Asia, Europe, and the United States, and has mastered social initiative within and outside Pakistan. Recipient of several national and international awards and an honorary doctorate, Mr. Hashwani also possesses invaluable knowledge in the philanthropic sector. May I please have you on stage? Thank you.
Thank you. Let me start with giving a little bit of a context why we do what we do. In the 1960s, Pakistan had its boom period. We were, as a matter of fact, the first Asian tiger before Korea, Taiwan, or for that matter, other countries. The World Bank used to quote Pakistan as the basket case. Between 1958 till 1967, 68, we had one of the highest growth rates in Asia. Our exports were more than the combined exports of Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, and Philippines. Exports, manufacturing exports. PIA lent its first aircrafts to Emirates when it started. Singapore was started by PIA's technology, and I can go on. And what is more significant about that is just about less than 15 years earlier, at the time of partition, 1947, we literally had nothing. We had no infrastructure, we had no funds, we had no industries, and as a matter of fact, our civil servant salaries were paid by businesses and Nizam of Hyderabad. So we literally started from ground zero. And so within a span of 15 years, from having nothing, we became an Asian tiger, literally the first Asian tiger. Today, if you see, we as a nation, we face multiple problems on multiple fronts. I cannot think of another country that faces so many issues all at once, be it economic issues, geostrategic issues, violence, you look at gender disparities, you look at education, you look at health, you look at energy, you look at water scarcity issues, and you can go on. And if you see on the global index, we are in most of them, we are in the bottom 10%, which I think is absolutely shameful for all of us, considering what we were in the 60s. And I can also argue that we have solutions for each and every of these problems without exception. If you look at energy, we all know about the Thalco reserves that can take care of our energy needs for the next 500 years. We have hydroelectricity, which has a potential of over 50,000 megawatts. You look at, population, we have the huge youth bulge, which if you look at the global statistics, actually can become a huge opportunity for us, because there will be a 400 million people deficit as Europe and other developed economies have aging population. We have a huge opportunity to go over there and make our presence felt. You look at, I can just go on and on and on. The point I'm trying to say is that we have the potential to solve all the problems which we are facing today. But then again, potential is something that, as they say, the graveyard is full of people who had great potential. The challenge is, how do we translate this latent potential into concrete results for our nation? Because remember, a lot of these trends which we talk about, these are not static trends, these are dynamic trends. If you look at these trends 20 years ago, Pakistan 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you will notice it's getting from bad to worse. And by the year 2045, we'll be a nation of 300 million people. And you do not have to be a rocket scientist to predict that if we allow these trends to continue and getting from bad to worse, where will we end up with, be it electricity, be it water, be it violence, be it so many things. So the question then we should ask ourselves is that what is it that we had in 1947 when apparently we did not even have these solutions which we have today? What is it that we had then which we have lost now? And I think that the number one reason which I can think of is that we have stopped being an inclusive society. Because you remember we had, after partition, we had a huge influx of refugees that came in. No one said कि ये कोई Shia है, Sunni है, Punjabi है, ये है, and everything. We opened our arms, and it wasn't the elite sitting in some disconnected locations just doling out money. They all came out and they all welcomed them, and everyone contributed for it. So I think it is very important that we must realize that whatever problems which we face today are not the root cause. The root cause lies somewhere else, and that's becoming an inclusive society, a compassionate society, a pluralistic society. That's where the root problem lies. Whatever issues we see today are as a result of them. And these issues have been brewing since decades and decades. And hence now it has come up front. It's like the environmental issue all over the world. It's been brewing for a long time, almost a century. And suddenly now it's like, coming to the forefront. So it is very, very important that we must realize that if we really want to solve these problems, it's a long-term problem and it requires a long-term solution. But whenever we start, we have to start from the right place. If you diagnose an issue correctly, you'll find the solution, you'll find the correct solution. And so I'm really very heartened to see this theme of today's conference, or yesterday's also. I think you guys are absolutely spot on, that this is the thing which we need to address. This is our starting point. And also if you look at today globally, there is a civil society rebellion against the entrenched systems which have been going on since centuries now. You look at the Anna Hazare movement in India, that was a rebellion against the corrupt practices of the political system and the businesses. You look at the Occupy Wall Street, again that was against the corporate greed in the US. You had the Arab Spring, that was against the dictators that were there. Over here in Pakistan, we had the lawyers' movement that started, and I think now we came back full circle, and we had the PTI movement, which in my opinion was less of a political movement and more of a civil society movement. Because if you look at Imran Khan, in the last 15 years, he has not said anything dramatic in the last 2 years, what he's not been saying all along. But all of a sudden, his rating just went right through the ceiling. Of course, it came down a little bit, and now it's picking up now. So let's see how that turns out. But the point is that we have a civil society movement in this country, and it is very, very vibrant. Qadri Saab came in. Nobody from Canada. It's huge. We can agree or disagree with whatever he did or whatever he said, but the fact that he had a huge following, right, came out of thin air. People just came, stood there for like 5 days out in the cold. So the point I'm trying to make is that there is an opportunity. Even today, when we talk about Pakistan as being a violent, torn, divided nation, we have the Karachi killings, we have the Balochistan insurgencies, you have the southern Punjab Taliban movements, you have the FATA and the drone strikes, the Peshawar bomb blasts. There's so much violence, yet whenever an opportunity comes, we all come together. And this we see when we had our earthquake, where the entire nation rallied together. No one thought who's a Pathan and who's a Sindhi, or you saw the entire youth coming in, and we became one nation. Similarly, the floods that happened in Sindh area, again we came back, and we all rallied and we became one nation. So the issue is that we have it in our DNA. That's not the problem. The problem is how do we create the conducive environment so that we as human beings are social animals. We act and react in accordance to our environment. And the best example I always give is, if I'm driving a car here in Karachi, I take a flight 2 hours, go to Dubai, and I drive over there. My skills as driver, I'm still the same person, my skills are the same, but my behavior or my driving patterns will be dramatically different. Why? Because I've been exposed to a different environment. So I think we as civil society leaders, the onus is on us to create the conducive environment so that the other population, be it the youth, be it the disenfranchised, can then work in that. You have Pakistanis going abroad who excel very well, and यहाँ हम कहते हैं निकम्मे काम नहीं करते, कोई कहते हैं चोर है, ये है, but when they go abroad, they all excel. So I think we really need to create it, and the onus is on all of us. Arts and culture is a very good start. In the architecture community, you people are all actually artists. And by creating the environments in our cities, in our towns, that again could be a very, very good start. So, I wanted to give this context, and I think it'll be nice if you guys think about that, we as a nation, we are really on the edge, but being on the edge, we have a huge potential. We are not a failed nation by any count. We have a huge potential to actually become an Asian tiger in the next 2 to 3 decades from now. We've done it in the past. Whether we do it in the future, the jury is out. Because if we continue with business as usual, trust me, in the next 10 to 15 years, we will be a failed nation for sure. We are heading in that direction, and it'll be really sad that if we do end up that way. With that, I'll just start with a brief introduction to Now PDP. Now PDP is an organization. It stands for Network of Organization Working for People with Disabilities. It was founded in 2008 during the Golden Jubilee of the Khan Sahib, and it was supported by the National Council. Our objective is to have an inclusive society. We try to uphold the values of people with disabilities in the country. To achieve this, we work in specific areas. Number one is capacity building of people with disabilities, these organizations. The other is we create awareness, we create employment opportunities, and we try to protect the rights of people with disabilities. Our projects, we do number one, capacity building of disability organizations. We've done numerous events engaging with these organizations. We've done teacher training programs. We've trained 620 teachers who teach children with disabilities in teaching techniques. In Gilgit-Baltistan area, we did a program to make 98 schools inclusive and mainstream, sensitize them, be it the teachers, the entire community, parents, etc. And we've had, mashallah, dramatic results. Another of our initiative is art therapy. We train practitioners, art therapists, who go in these special schools to do. So we had done a first round. We are now in our second phase. This is another project which is in the pipeline, and hopefully we will, inshallah, get it soon. There are 48 special schools in the province of Sindh run by the government. We have an agreement with them to take over 15 schools and make them, create over a 2-year period, upgrade them and make them centers of excellence so that other schools can also emulate. And it's a very elaborate 2-year program. Similarly, we do consulting services, from HR to sensitization to staff training to audit policies, recruitment services, etc. The second of our initiative is awareness, objective is awareness and access to information. Here again, we've had the legal rights brochure. We did about 4,000 of them and distributed them through our members so people understand that exactly what their rights are. We did another disability directory service. There anyone can access this from online or through an SMS to know what schools, accessible locations are there, government services are there, which NGOs are there in this sector. Similarly, we do on a regular basis art competitions, and this we've done in Karachi, Lahore and Islamabad, art competition with people with children with disabilities, and we recognize their talents. Similarly, on International Days of Persons with Disabilities, we do a number of events. We have the Youth Ambassadors Program. The third of our initiative is employment opportunities. We've collaborated with some of the leading companies, and we have managed to give employment opportunities to over 200 people with disabilities. Here, I just want to pause for like 1 second. The problem is not that the companies are not willing to take people with disabilities, it's just that they do not know how to go about it. So we actually go, we talk to them, we engage with them, we do the factory survey of theirs, office survey, and advise that person with such disability can fit in such areas. And that's how, and then we have a recruitment survey where we create a data bank of people with disabilities. So then we try to fit in the relevant people in those relevant companies. And mashallah, we've had very good response. Another is our rickshaw project. It is a very ambitious project. It is just like you have the radio cab, we would like to have a radio rickshaw thing. This is something which has had more than its expected gestation period, but mashallah, we are nearly there, and we're launching our pilot phase with 5 to 10 rickshaws in our initial phase. Our goal is to take it up to 60 rickshaws and create a self-sustainable model. Here again, these are retrofitted rickshaws. You can call for a rickshaw and it will come to you, and this is run by, the entire organization will be run by people with disabilities. And we have with us one of our drivers here today. Another of our initiative is Heart Work. Here, we collaborate with special schools, and we do capacity building within them. So we have on board a designer, a marketing person, what we try to do is we create these products and we go and sell them. And our objective is that it should sell on its own merits, on its designs, on its innovation, rather than anyone doing it out of pity or trying to just do it just to help people as such. The fourth of initiative is protecting the rights of people with disabilities. Here we had campaigned, for example, with the Children Museum. We had collected 1.1 million signatures encouraging the government of Pakistan to ratify the convention, the UN convention. Pakistan was the signatory since past 4 years, and they had not done it. And some of us had worked very hard to try and do it. Just a side story, we had approached the Prime Minister to give him the 1.1 million signatures. He had initially agreed, and then there was radio silence. So then I found out through his relative exactly what the story is. And what I was told, that he got scared that if he received us, then he'll be under pressure to do something about it. So therefore, they did not really, even have the courtesy to receive these 1.1 million signatures. Another of our initiatives we had done was with the civil aviation. Here we had collaborated with a UK-based organization where we had conducted an audit for them, highlighting that how can they make all the airports of the country inclusive. Another initiative we had done was for CNIC registration. Normally, you get a Shanahti card. It is a 4-month process if you want to get a special Shanahti card for people with disabilities. The reason for that is because there are about 4 different government departments which you have to go through: health, employment, etc. And one of the departments is located on the 2nd floor. So it's virtually impossible for people to really get access to it. So here we collaborated with the Sindh government, and I give full credit to Imtiaz Sheikh. He was the Minister for Special Education. To be honest, first I was a bit reluctant to work with him, but when I really worked with him, I found him absolutely outstanding. He did some amazing things. So what we did was we brought the mountain to Moses, and we had 4 government organizations under one roof. And we would have these special sessions where we would invite people with disabilities. So instead of 4 months, we would do their registration in 2 hours. So we did this in about 7 locations in Karachi, Sakhar, Ladkana, in the pilot phase with Nadra and Government of Sindh to do these registrations. So mashallah, it was a success. We did about 1,000 registrations. So this was and then Imtiaz Sheikh got transferred because his coalition government resigned, so he also resigned, and after that it went into cold store. That is unfortunately the the disadvantage working with governments. But what we did was we created a successful model that we can do. We were looking to do about 100,000 registrations. Nadra was very much on board. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened, so we'll be hoping that we'll try and pick up the pieces with the new government. Another of the initiative was with, again, I would give credit to Imtiaz Sheikh Sahab. He, again, was very much instrumental, is to make Karachi a disability-friendly city. And here we had collaborated with the Architecture Association, and I'm really grateful for Arshad Farooqi, Bilgrami Saab and his colleagues for working with us. And the idea was to again create some successful models in the city and make them inclusive. Just to give you one example, the funds, the association had agreed with us to do it on a cost-to-cost basis, and they would give their personal time on a voluntary basis, but there were certain core costs, and we asked the government to do it, and the minister did not have the budget for it, so they actually did it created an illegal thing and gave us money off the record and said, here's your seed money, and go ahead with the program. So, the system was just not there. I was with Shabbir Zaidi, who's yesterday, who's the caretaker finance minister, and he said the special education department was the only department that had had 0 expenditures. He said all the budgets were there, but it did not happen. So this is really a huge problem for like all of us, is that we need to try and strive for these to become an inclusive society, and I'm just really very grateful that all of you are have chosen the theme of this conference, because I really feel if this is the correct beginning. Thank you very much.